Hi again everyone, my name's Steve and this is Little Plastic People, a channel dedicated to all things mini hobby related. And in today's video we're going to be taking a look at something that nearly all mini wargamers or hobby enthusiasts have to contend with at some point or another, and that's transporting your minis from place A to place B, and hopefully without any extra battle damage. Now, the conventional wisdom for years has been lined boxes with foam, like those available from Felder or KR. But recently there's been a bit of a move towards magnetic trays, and these are great particularly for infantry armies, and even for some vehicle armies. But once you start having to transport those minis that aren't so mini, like knights or, I don't know, just a normal dragon, well, then you're going to fall into some problems. And I think I found the perfect solution. So, with all of that said, let's get to the video. For a few years now, I've been using a box like this, which has been great. So much so that for this video, I'll be running through the easy way to convert a pretty ubiquitous toolbox into something a little more suited to mini transportation. Just on a quick side note though, although this isn't a sponsored video per se, the very kind people over at Warmag and the Colourforge both sent over some products to help out. But we'll get to that in just a minute. 10 points if you can guess what they sent. First, let's discuss the basics. This case is from a tool company called Makita. I'm sure that there are plenty of other alternatives out there, but these are the best value ones that I've found so far. Plus, I already had a few banging around the studio. If you don't already know, Makita are a pretty popular tool brand. The best in my opinion. Yep, I said it, so come at me, DeWalt fanboys. Not sponsored, by the way. They offer a huge variety of tools and accessories, including a range of stackable boxes. Yup, you heard right, these cases are stackable plus interlockable. They have a carry handle, come in a variety of sizes, have padlock rings, and options for comfy carry straps. But best of all, they're easy to find, and most importantly, affordable. Around £30 for the largest size, down to around £20 for the smaller ones. But to be fair, that's not all you're going to need to spend, unless you're happy to just dump your minis into what is essentially a fancy bucket at this point. Which brings us smoothly on to what you'll need to make possibly the best value mini transport system about. Now, you could just go with what you've got if you like that worksite aesthetic, but I prefer something less branded and less green. So out comes some Rattlecam primer, kindly gifted by the Colourforge, and although I would normally go for something a little less ostentatious, let's give this Gauntlet Gold a go. But before we do, let's cover up that Makita logo. I quickly grab a little card cut to size to pack out the indentation and use a thin sheet of plastic card to top it off, fixed into place with some CA glue. After a little tidy, a key with some sandpaper and a quick removal of the latches, we're good to get going with that spray paint. Editing Steve here. So I also wrapped some masking tape around the handle, as I figured any paint, no matter how well applied, would scratch off there quite quickly compared to the rest. A little editing magic later, and we have possibly the flashiest mini transport case ever. But of course, I couldn't just leave the inside green. So I sprayed the inside with some sanguine red, also from the Colourforge. Ooh, isn't it fancy? Feels like it could do with a nice velvet lining, doesn't it? Maybe later. Now on to how we're going to keep those minis, or not so minis, from rattling around inside. As mentioned before, Warmag were very generous in sending over some magnet sheets for this project, but I was extra grateful and equally impressed when they sent over a whole bunch of custom sheets cut out perfectly for these boxes. Fixing these magnetic sheets firmly and hopefully permanently into these cases couldn't have been much easier. I simply removed the protective backing, heated up the hot glue gun and covered all of the contact point areas with a generous amount of glue, before dropping the sheet in, positioning it and holding it in place until the glue cooled enough to grab it. Although probably not all that necessary if the magnets have enough strength, I also cut out a little acoustic foam into squares and stuck this to the inside just in case something bumps the sidewalls. And there we have it. A very showy and very functional carry case for your not-so-minis. But as is tradition here, we're not going to stop there. So I sit down and get to work adding some detail. I essentially use the techniques outlined in my How to Paint Better True Metallics video, but at a much larger scale and a lot more roughly. And after not too long, voila! It might not be as clean looking as before, but it certainly has more character now, and feels very appropriate for my award-winning lanky knights. But in all seriousness, although this example is admittedly a little much to look at, and is likely to grab a bit of attention when you're out and about, you don't have to be quite so exuberant with your colours. For example, here are a couple of smaller cases painted more simply, with some Raven Black primer from the Colourforge and a little matte varnish to help keep the scratches at bay. Well, at least for a while, I hope. These are perfect as they are, but if you're anything like me, they're a great place to display all of those stickers that you've probably got hoarded away somewhere. But enough about how it looks. What can you fit inside it, I hear you ask? Well, with a footprint of around 40 by 30 centimeters, you can comfortably fit in 3 lanky knights in the larger size, with the smaller sizes being able to accommodate around 7 or 8 Armageddon sized minis and a huge amount of infantry. I can fit in about 70 Necron warriors in one case, but that's just on the case floor. If you were feeling adventurous, there's nothing to stop you magnetizing the inside of the lid or the walls, having another 70 plus infantry stuck upside down in there. Same could go with the larger cases and some larger models. Just make sure that you're happy with the strength of the magnets first. So that's about it. What do you think? Is this the kind of thing that you'd have a go at making? Or are there better pre-made solutions and more affordable systems out there that you prefer? Let me know in the comments below. But before I go, massive thanks to both Warmag and the Colourforge for sending the products over. Like I said at the start, this isn't a sponsored video, but I can definitely recommend both Warmag for all your magnetized transportation needs, and the Colourforge for their great selection of quality Rattlecan paints. Links in the description below. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, and all of that good stuff. See you next time. Bye!